Hello friends, I am Dr. Sarika Swami, a pediatrician at Sardar Patel Medical College, Bikaner, and I am here with my another video that is on bulbar and pseudobulbar palsy, how we differentiate between the two. So here let me tell you a little bit about the relevant anatomy of this uh, so that it becomes easy for us to understand the difference between the two types of palsies. So first of all, what is bulb? Bulb is actually medulla oblongata. And which are bulbar nerves? Bulbar nerves are actually the nerves, cranial nerves, which take their origin from the medulla oblongata. And these are the cranial nerves 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. So here you can see very well that this part is the medulla oblongata, and from here the cerebral cortex, the nerve fibers are arising and they are coming down and they are terminating in these nuclei, and from here the cranial nerves take their origin and they supply the various parts of the head and neck. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. So here are the nucleus ambiguous, the nucleus of the 12th cranial nerve, that is hypoglossal nerve, and the nucleus of the accessory nerve. So the cranial part of accessory nerve, that is 12th cranial nerve, is involved in cases of pseudobulbar or bulbar palsy. Okay. Now, what is upper motor neuron and what is lower motor neuron? So upper motor neuron is from cortex to the tract itself, that is above the level of nuclei, and the lower motor neuron is from nucleus or anterior horn cell till its termination. So in reference to pyramidal tract lesion, upper motor neuron is from cerebral cortex to above the level of anterior horn cells, and lower motor neuron is from anterior horn cell till the end organ, which is supplied by the various nerves. And in reference to cranial nerves, the upper motor neuron is from cerebral cortex to the corticobulbar pathway above the level of cranial nerve nuclei, and the lower motor neuron is cranial nerve nuclei and up to the end organ that is supplied. So there is pseudobulbar palsy when bilateral damage to the corticobulbar tract is there, and there is bulbar palsy when either nuclei or nerves are damaged. Okay, so as the bulbar nerves, that is the nerves 9, 10th, 11th and 12th cranial nerves supply muscles of the head and neck region, so clinical features of bulbar palsy and pseudobulbar palsy are related to problems in these areas. So they are commonly the difficulty in deglutition, difficulty in phonation and other features depending on whether the lesion is a bulbar palsy, a lesion is a upper motor neuron or a lower motor neuron type. So let me tell you some of the common causes of bulbar and pseudobulbar palsy, because if you have seen these cases, then I think it will be more easy for you to understand the differences between the two. So the common causes of bulbar palsy are Guillain-Barré syndrome, myasthenia gravis, neurotoxic snake envenomation and botulism. And poliomyelitis was an important cause of bulbar palsy. Then the common causes of pseudobulbar palsy are traumatic brain injury, vascular insult, that is cerebrovascular incidents that should be bilateral, and tumors of the brain, especially the posterior fossa tumors, they may cause pseudobulbar palsy. So now coming to the difference between the two. So by this, I think by this time you are very clear about that bulbar palsy is a lower motor neuron type of lesion and pseudobulbar palsy is a upper motor neuron type of lesion, that is above the level of nucleus, from cerebral cortex to above the level of nucleus. In both these type of palsies, 9th to 12th cranial nerves are involved, but if 5th and 7th cranial nerves are also involved, then it is a pseudobulbar type of palsy. The gag reflex is absent in cases of bulbar palsy while it is exaggerated in cases of pseudobulbar palsy. If we look at the tongue of the patient, it is vasted and fasciculations are there in bulbar palsy, while the tongue is spastic and small in size in cases of pseudobulbar palsy. If we listen to the voice of the patient, if there is unilateral bulbar palsy, then there is raspy voice. And what is raspy voice is that the pitch of the voice and volume of the voice is low. Okay, and if there is bilateral damage to the the nerves, then there is nasal twang to voice. Nasal twang means as if our nose is clogged and then we are speaking, that is nasal twang to the voice. And in cases of pseudobulbar palsy, there is a spastic dysarthria, and the typical speech which is there is called a Donald Duck speech. I think in your childhood you all have listened to Donald Duck. Then jaw jerk is normal in cases of bulbar palsy, while it is exaggerated in cases of pseudobulbar palsy. Nasal regurgitation is there in bulbar palsy and it is not there in pseudobulbar palsy. And then very important point is emotions. They are normal in bulbar palsy, but emotional incontinence in the form of excessive laughing, and that suddenly followed by excessive crying episodes, or the labile affect is there in cases of pseudobulbar palsy, and this effect is also called a pseudobulbar effect. So I think I have been able to differentiate between the two conditions, and I hope this video will help you a lot uh, in your clinics. Thank you so much. Please like and share the video. Thank you.